Alright, so I did figure out the issue I was having, and it was just a little change I had to make. And so yeah, I was reading the wrong directory when I was verifying um, if it was working or not. So I assumed that the dot would be in the root, but the dot is actually the current directory, which starts out in home and Pyodide. So yeah, so it was actually working, and I just had to go to the right directory. So that is one problem solved. So this test code, and one other thing about that is I did not need to do like grab a variable from JavaScript because I misunderstood what that post was saying. Um, so yeah, you could just do this. Just like normal Python, it writes to the file system. Okay, so that was unnecessary. Let's remove that code. And then going back to that post, it makes sense now. And what he means is, um, if you have this file as a string object in JavaScript and save it to a variable, you can access it from within Python from JS import. What he means, I think in this case, is contents. And then you could write it to the virtual file system like this. So yeah, got that working. And then these examples obviously would work now. Mounting a file system. I did another test and it didn't work as I was hoping, but it worked like I thought. So inside of the worker, I'm just doing read directory, same place at the root, and it's not showing. And this happens after you know, let me do it here just because it won't matter, but let's just try that. Test number 2. So if we do that, it prints it out, and this is in the root directory, and yeah, it has the data, which is from this right here, but it does not have it doesn't have the other file that exists in pyodide.fs.reader slash. Actually, neither does that. Oh, that's right, because I removed code. Let me bring this back just really quick and double check. But yeah, I don't think it will have that. So let's try that again. So yeah, it's there in this root directory, but it is not there within the web worker. So that is going to be an issue, and we have to figure that out. Like I said, I think this might be the easy option, but I want to try to get this working and see how that goes. Let's read this really quick. So I went through this. Take a look at this really quick. Before I get to that, let's come down here. The default file system used in Pyodide is memfs. There's a link to Scripting, yeah. Which is a virtual in-memory file system. The data stored in memfs, where was I? Will be lost when the page is reloaded, which would be fine for what I'm doing, but doesn't work exactly how I need it to. If you wish for files to persist, you can mount other file systems. Other file systems provided by Emscripten are those. Note that some file systems can only be used in specific runtime environments. I don't think I have that limitation in the web. not trying to use that. For instance, to store data persistently between page reloads, one could mount a file folder with the IDBFS file system, right? IndexedDB file system. And that's how you would do it. If you're using Node, you can access the native file system by mounting Node FS. So I don't care about that. So might have to use this example soon, but let's read a little bit more. Pyodide FS. An alias to the file system API. This provides a wide range of POSIX like file device operations, including mount, which can be used to extend the in-memory file system with features like persistence. Let's see. It's all within this doc here, I believe. So I can get back to that. While all the file systems implementations are enabled, only the default memfs is guaranteed to work in all runtime settings. Implementations are available as members of. So, okay. All right. Well, let's see. Give me 1 second. All right. So let's see if we can figure out how to use proxy fs. Scripting decides whether to include. I already read this earlier or before. I don't need to read that. One way to maybe look at it is to test if each web worker has its own file system or they all share one. And then one thing I could do is save the file contents within the web worker. That would require some changes in, well, if I loaded, actually that would be a good test because if I loaded Pyodide in a web worker and that was true that they all share the same, then that's good. Python code should write to the same file system. So that would actually solve that issue. I could do that test. I don't want to try to put Pyodide or run Pyodide in a web worker just yet, but I don't think that would work actually. I could do a pretty simple test actually to test that out. Let me just try that really quick. Let's do test worker shared defense. Like next HTML and then include Pyodide. Why is it on the next line? There we go. And then we'll do script source equals JS. And then we'll create some files at .js. I guess worker only really needs one file, but just I don't know, just to make sure, be really clear about it. Just create two separate files. A little bit unnecessary, but okay. Oh no, this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I need minimum JS. Yeah, okay. Because minimum JS loads all that, so um, let's actually call it that too, because I'm not sure if it matters. I'd say probably not, but let's just keep it the same for a test case. That's in here, minimum JS. Copy all of that over to this. And then in the worker, sure there's a easier way to get this working. I don't even know if this is going to work. Copy this into one of them. And we'll just call this right away and erase almost all of this. I'll just do that for now. Erase that as well. We need that. Um, Probably don't care about any of that. Let's just comment it out. Okay, and then in app, we just need to do new let worker one equals new worker, and the file is worker JS. Do the same with worker two. I guess I'll rename this to make it more clear. Worker one, worker two, and then is that it? Yeah, and it runs, right? Let me see, console.log, worker one, test, and let's actually just not do any of this yet. One step at a time. Okay, worker one test, worker two test, app. Let's see if this open a live server. Should see both those in the console. Worker one test, worker two test. Okay. And we should not have FS anywhere because two reasons. I don't have minimum, and the other reason is that it wouldn't show up there anyways. Okay. So let's try that. And that, and then fs dot reader slash not compile, it's not okay, crap. Ah, okay. Um, can we make a simple example really quick on this computer? Oh, man, that sucks. Is there another way to do it? Just to include the file system thing? What is this? Library FSJS? Huh. Let's just copy this. What's all the NDIFs? I don't know. Let's try it. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Let's throw that in here. Is that something you could do in JavaScript? I didn't know that. No, something's wrong, right? Hmm. It said .js, but does that work? Really? Hmm. Oh, they're private fields. Or no, they're not. I mean, this is not sure. Like it looks like something you do in C++, so but it said JS, so thought JS. I don't know. I don't get it, but hmm. Is there a lot of those end ifs? I think this is not going to work. Let's see. I could do a simple example. I think. No, you know what? Let's do something else. Maybe I'll come back to this. Uh, you know what? Why am I doing a separate example? I could just use the same example I had. Let's just do that. So from here, go app. So new worker, let's do worker two, my worker two, and then let's actually do multiple workers. Worker, go test worker one, test worker one, test worker two, test worker two, and then create those files, new file, test worker, worker one, and test worker two. And then I shouldn't have deleted that. It's not a big deal. Just copy this over, and again get rid of all of it except uh, comment that out. Test worker one slash new directory, and then get rid of all of this and all init, and then fs.read dir. Is that right? Read dir test worker one. We should see new directory. All right, let's see what we get out of this. Well, let's not log test worker two. Throw that there for now. Okay, close this. So test worker two. Okay. Oh, I didn't console log it. Worker one, read there, and then oh, let's not do that yet. Let's make sure that file or that folder is being created. Test worker two. Did I not console log it again? Test worker 1. Probably didn't publish. Okay, test worker 1, it has the new directory, nice. Okay. And then test worker 2, let's do the same code. And we'll say worker 2, console.log, test worker 2, and get rid of that. And let's just read flash. Let's actually just do that. Okay. So worker 1, read directory, worker 2, read directory. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm gonna say they don't share the same. So worker 1, read directory is that. Let's have both of them create their own directory. Just to see if one shows up and the other doesn't. So worker 1 has test worker 1, worker 2 has test worker 2. Alright, so they have separate directories. That's a problem. So that plan won't work. The other one I was talking about, we can just delete these files. You know what, I'll save them for a little bit, why not? So I don't have to set that up again if I try to test something. Okay. So next step is, so they don't share. Oh yeah, next step is read this documentation and see if we can figure out the proxy. Kind of interested to just try this, and just see if it's shared between all. I think it probably would be. They don't say much about it here though. We don't need this right now. That doesn't really help us. That's for later. So I might need like this buffer. Just using typed arrays. No buffers. Yeah, that's where it was. Is it possible to share WebAssembly memory between two workers using post message? You can create a WebAssembly shared memory instance. So this would actually work. It wouldn't save to file, but we could, if they have shared memory, I could pass just the data from one to the other, have the other save the file. So this is definitely an option. Definitely an option. All right, I'll think about that. Come back to it. But let's read the scripting doc a little bit more. Make a decision here. Following sections provide a brief overview of the script and file system environment. Does that link back to this? Oh, it's just a little bit further down, I guess. I think. Yeah, where is that? Oh, yeah. And architecture. In addition to discussing support for standard C and C++ synchronous file APIs, it briefly discusses the file system API and mscript's asynchronous file system API. I'm not going to worry about that. Native code and normal JavaScript use quite different file access paradigms. Portable native code usually calls synchronous file APIs in libc and libcxx, while JavaScript allows only asynchronous file access. Okay, except in web workers. In addition, JavaScript does not have direct access to the host file system when run inside the sandbox environment provided by a web browser. Mscripten provides a virtual file system that simulates a local file system so that native code using synchronous file APIs can be compiled and run with little or no change. That's nice. Packaging files explains how you can use EMCC to specify which files you need to include in the file system. For many developers, that may be all you need to do. Okay. The main elements of the Mscripten file system architecture are shown below. Most native code will call the synchronous file APIs. These, in turn, call the underlying file system, which by default uses memfs. App libc synchronous file system. Okay. Yeah, I don't care about the files already loaded. Preload files, I think. Any data written to them is lost when the page is reloaded. We already read that. If you need to fetch other files from the network to the file system, then use wget and the other methods. Okay, that didn't help us yet. Worker.fs. This file system is only for use when running code inside a worker. Read-only access. Okay, I don't think that matters for what I'm doing. This allows a module to mount on another module's file system. This is useful when separate modules need to share a file system without manually syncing the file contents. Sounds like what I need to do. That's pretty much it. But it's not clear what do they mean exactly by module? Like a yes module? Module 2 can use the path. Module 2. So that's when you have. Okay. Okay. Let's just try this. Module 2. Oh, I know what it's talking about, module. I think. I think they're talking about just this, the module object. So this might be a lot easier than I was thinking. So that would be in the init, right? Submodule. Okay. What's this FS1? FS mount. So let's look up mount. Yeah, this actually might be pretty easy. So type, options, and mount point. So type, okay. Options, sure. Mount point. Okay. So we need to send module to object, or the main module's object to the worker, I think, if I understand this correctly. And that is, I guess our module is called Pyodide, right? Well, let me see something. So Pyodide, FS. What's another thing that I could test? Dot. Yeah, I think that'll work. Or I could just pass the whole thing, right? Yeah. So I could just pass that through in the message. So that's gonna be on startup actually. So we're gonna say main Pyodide fs write file. Should we do it before? No, I'm gonna do it after this. Actually do this at the end. I'll do it like right here. So I'll do my worker, my worker. I hope this works. Dot post message. And we're gonna post the message of, is it just one thing? Yeah. We're gonna post the message of type. It's gonna be mount FS. FS mount, we'll say. And then we'll pass it the FS, and it's gonna be pyodide dot FS. Okay. And then in worker, self on message. So let's move this out right now, actually. So we can move that out right now. Um, Let me think about this. File data. Do I actually need to do any of this? That's like me testing. For now, I'm going to comment that out. Not that it matters too much. I'm actually going to make this a global, I think. And then, just like I had before, let's solve LP equals. And then out here, I'm going to move this. I'm going to say self on message if message dot type is equal to fs mount fs. How to read this? Let's do dashes, and then we'll do else. We'll just do an else for now. else, let's actually grab the type, const type equals message data. I think that's right. Message.data has all the stuff you pass in. So type, and then we'll grab anything else that's relevant within here. Const fs equals you know what? Else if message dot type equals run or solve. Okay, then we'll move this code in here. All of it. Let's clean it up a little bit. I mean, I would have had to do that at some point, no matter what. So, all right, so that's good. And we still have this check, which I actually do need now. So it's good. Solve LP is null. Okay, it says message type is solve. So let's come back to that and take care of that really quick. Uh, process MPS file message. Let's just call this solve. Type solve. Uh, MPS data blank for now. For now, MPS file path is file path. You know what? Let's just name this MPS file path like that. Okay. Solve MPS file path back in the worker. Solve. Actually, I'm gonna comment all this out for now. I don't actually want it running. That's fine actually. Because I want to test this anyways. Yeah, I will comment this all out. And then bring this up here. Okay. And then it just won't do anything if it's not one of those two types. Right, so fs, if fs, then we're gonna mount. Let's grab this code. Module, so this is module.fs.mount. Module. Let me see if this is auto-completing proxy. Makes me think it might not work. Root fs. So this is actually going to be just fs. And then fs1. Okay. Let's make that directory. fs1. Let's do it up here. Make dir. Make directory fs1. And then that's it. fs1. Write file fs slash that That way we'll be able to test it. So FS1 there. Okay. And then worker. So mounts it, and then read directory FS1, I guess. Alright, let's see if that works at all. Failed to execute post message. Could not be cloned. Hmm. The fact I'm seeing FS here makes me think this is gonna work. I don't know what that area is exactly, but it's like basically saying you can't do this, I think. Dang, that sucks. Take it out and see if it works. Yeah, can't be cloned. Dang. This is actually the wrong message too, but that's not what was causing the problem. Alright, access FS main thread from worker and scripting. This is close. Right. And it kind of might answer my other question about this being shared automatically. This is great. This is exactly what I'm asking, I think. The read-only thing is interesting too, because I really do I need to write to the file system? No, I don't. I only need to read. So for what I'm trying to do, that would work. Let me see. Worker FS. This file system provides read-only access. Okay. Okay. Oh, well, this is a good thing because it tells me this is probably fine to use between them, but at the same time, it's not going to help with my proxy FS issue. I wish they gave more docs on this. Let's see if I can like search proxy FS. It's not documented. Oh, this might have an example in it, so might as well check all these out. You never know. Alright, let's read through these. I don't think that's my problem. It's not the problem I'm having, I don't think. Oh, let's look at this. Let's modulate equals a weight. So he's actually using module. What? Huh. Modularize equals what? Huh. Might come back to that one. This was something. I mean, it's what I've already seen. Um, I wonder if just, let me see something. I wonder if I just sent, alright, let's see what that does. I'm thinking now this doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to send some data, but it just sends like data. It doesn't send like references. So I don't think this is gonna work. The one way I could get it to work is to share memory, maybe. But then if I was doing that, I would just pass the string, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have a way to get it to work with the shared memory. Might be a little bit weird, but it would work. Um, Trying to do a little bit cleaner. Uh, yeah, just do it in a more clean way. Let's see. I don't think that's gonna help. Oh, what's this? Do I need that? Do I need that to add that to runtime methods? I didn't. Huh. I don't think so. Let me see. Pyodide dot proxy fs. It's undefined. Oh, maybe I do. I don't think that's gonna help me with what I'm trying to do anyways. Yeah. There's no way you could just send it through a message and it will just have access to it. Because they're in totally separate memory. Yeah, that's not gonna work, I think. They don't have shared memory. Yeah. I don't think any of this is gonna work anyways, so yeah, I need to so one option, yeah, is to try this for sure. Does seem to work based on what he's saying. It makes sense too, like if you go, is it memory? No, not memory. Application, IndexedDB, I don't think that would be shared between, I mean, I don't think that would be different between the web worker and the main thread, although maybe. So that would work. It's actually a cleaner solution than, I think yeah, it's cleaner than um, the other way I was going to do it with a string. So there's two ways I was thinking to do it. One of them is more difficult and unnecessary. I mean, it's not that hard, but I'd have to go into the pulp code. Where is that? Here. To write this to a string instead of a file. And then return that string somewhere back to the JS. The JS will send over, or the JS will send over that string, pass it through, and then and the web worker would then create the file itself before it called the solver. That's one way to do it. That should work. The other way that's kind of similar that I think is what I'm going to do, or I mean, actually, I'm probably going to use the IndexedDB, but the other way I was thinking um, is without modifying the J or the pulp write file. It would write the file, and then app.js in here, it would read the file once it's written, and it would get it in a string and then do the same thing as before. That probably wouldn't be bad, because it's an in-memory, so it should be really quick. I kind of like that idea, because it would never save to IndexedDB, and you wouldn't have to worry about any of that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, it'll write the file, and then here it'll read the file into a string, pass the string into process MPS file or into the worker. The worker would create the file and then pass the file path into the solve. It's a little bit of a couple extra steps, but I think it'll go so fast that it won't even be noticed. It's not like the files are that big. Yeah, it's not that big. So I'll try that. If that seems to go really slow for some reason, I'll try IndexedDB, and then if that doesn't work, I'll have to maybe do some sort of shared memory thing, which wouldn't be a bad thing. But yeah, that's the plan for next time. Here, let me write that down. So try IndexedDB. How do you say that? IndexedDB file system. Oh, I forgot the B. IndexedDB file system. I shared memory, maybe. And then the first thing I want to try is um we won't say try, we're just gonna so Python writes MPS file as always. Uh, app.js reads MPS file to string. App.js sends MPS string to worker via message. Worker writes file to its memfs from the MPS string, and then yeah, the wasm reads file and gives back and returns solution. So I'm gonna try this. Yeah, I don't think it'll be too slow, but yeah, if it is, I'll try probably this next and then that last. This is probably maybe the best way to do it too, but I don't know. I think there might be some issues with shared memory that I don't want to get into right now. So, like some things you might have to watch out for that you might not think you do, but would mess some stuff up. So, all right, I think I'll take a break there. When I come back, I will get that working and see how that works. Once I do that, it pretty much should go all the way to the solve and come back and then back to the Python, back into the Python part where it reads the solution, the variables from the solution, which is, where's that? All the way up here, I think. Oh no, that's in coin something. Yeah, right here, reads the variables from the solution data. I already have that set up. And then, and we were getting that error about the split because the solution data didn't exist basically. So that will exist. Hopefully fix that error. Do all those things, return the status, and just work. And then we won't delete the files because they won't even exist. Um, depending on how we do it, this one will only exist in memory. Uh, and I'll probably, I'm not sure I'm gonna name the files actually. I could randomly name them based on like the timestamp. I could use whatever I get back from this or this, I guess. So I'll think about that, but yeah, I'll use that actually. Yeah, I'll use that. And deleting the file. I could just try this and see if it does anything, but not right now. All right, so that's the plan for next time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.